Good day, my name is Liam Flaherty, and during the fourth week of May 2025, my work colleague Bongani and I road tripped to Bloemfontein from Pretoria. In the opening clapperboard scene, you might have noticed the painting that I'm progressing with. It is a buddleia in the setting of Bloemfontein. It came as a complete coincidence that I would find myself in Bloemfontein this week, and being here, I could return home to complete the painting with fresh inspiration. In part one of this 2-video series, I had the opportunity to visit Vian Herbst of the Bloemfontein Bonsai Kai. So join me as I get to know Vian and his trees a little bit better. Hope you enjoy it. Good day, my name is Liam Flaherty from Pretoria. It's the 25th of May 2025 and I've just arrived in Bloemfontein along with the winter, and it's a very big privilege for me to be here with Vian Herbst.
Thank you for being here. It's nice to finally meet you in person.
Yes. We have met at ABC6 very briefly. But before that, did you ever come to visit the Pretoria Bonsai Kai?
I've been there a few times, yeah. I mean, 40 years of bonsai takes you quite a few places.
Yes. I believe that in your previous visits at the Pretoria Bonsai Kai are meetings that I missed. So I'm glad to finally get to meet you properly today. Thank you very, very much for having me, Vian. Vian, you're a very well-known name in South African bonsai, and over the years you've played crucial roles in South African bonsai, but I think it is still a valid question to ask you about how did you get started? Tell us a little bit about your history in bonsai and tell us a little bit about your journey up until now.
It started 40 years ago now. In 1985, I was a first-year student studying medicine, which is quite an intensive course, and at some point I got to the point of deciding, okay, now I need something to just sort of relax my mind and do something else. Went through a few thoughts in my mind, finally got a Reader's Digest hobbies book, paged through it, and I saw a photo of a bonsai, and I just thought, this is it. I want to do this. I want to be able to make this. So I just pulled out a tree from my mom's rock garden in the backyard, and that's where it started in 1985. From there, started bonsai, side hobby as a student. You know, I felt so proud of myself being the only guy in South Africa doing bonsai. Then about a few months or a year later, article in the newspaper, a few people interested in bonsai, wanted to start a club. We'll meet at the museum in Bloemfontein. Sort of disappointed that I wasn't the only one, but anyway, went there. Few people discussed bonsai. We started a club, and that was 1986. And so, yeah, by the way, next year Bloemfontein will be 40 years old, and we're going to have a nice mini convention for that. The whole country is invited, so see you here. Anyway, from there, we started a club. We taught each other from books, thought we were the only guys in South Africa doing bonsai. Then a few years later, discovered there were actually other clubs in the country, and that's how we sort of just progressed from convention to convention. I was in a committee a few years, did duty as a chairman of the club for quite a few years. Got around doing my turn as president of SABA with a few of the club members, Heinrich being here as well this afternoon. And so was chairman of SABA for a while, for those 2 years, and in all these years we hosted a few mini conventions, hosted 1 or 2 big conventions, international speakers, done a few many demos at the club, a few nationally, almost 1 or 2 internationally, but COVID's done a lot of things. Let's not go there now. And that's where we are now.
Yes. So currently you're the chairman of the club that you actually founded yourself 40 years ago.
Well, yes. Not myself, a few of us.
Yes.
But one of the founding members, yes.
Well, then let's move on then to actually speak about then the Bloemfontein Bonsai Kai. I was wondering if you could tell us what is the state of the Bloemfontein Bonsai Kai now? Tell us where you guys at and what's happening, and tell me a little bit about your highlights, annual activities. Update us on the Bloemfontein Bonsai Kai.
I think the main issue the main point I want to get through is that for me, bonsai has always been a hobby. Yes, there are some people earning an income from it, and I'm happy for them, and I'm glad they are there because then I can buy stuff from them.
Yes.
But for us, it's always been a hobby. So it's about relaxing, it's about socializing, it's about just enjoying nature, trees, and bonsai. So that's the philosophy of the club, just to enjoy each other. We don't have secrets. I'm not going to keep my secret away from how to whatever miniaturize the leaves or whatever. So we get together the second Saturday of every month, just sharing, enjoying working on trees, starting off with a workshop, going through the day, having a little bit of a lecture demo maybe, and then ending off with a little bit of socializing, whether it's a braai or just soup and buns, whatever. That's the way we're doing it at the moment. Because of the lack of COVID, giving quite a hit on many things in life, but bonsai clubs as well.
Yes.
We've started off in the last 2 years, actually more Heinrich and Andre and the rest of the committee in the time that I was of the committee, just trying to promote bonsai, but Bloemfontein Bonsai Club as well.
Yes.
And so we've started, having these the farmers market on Saturdays. We've got a stall there monthly, selling bonsai, so actually promoting the club. We made banners. We recently had the Bloemfontein Bonsai Show, which is
The Bloemfontein show.
the Bloemfontein Show,
Yes.
yeah, which is more a agricultural show.
Yes.
We had a stall there, and what a wonderful experience. First time ever. Was a lot of work. Again, Heinrich and Andre doing most of the work there. But a lot of people being interested. We sold quite a lot of bonsai. Quite a few members actually joined since then, and that's about just over a month ago.
Well, there's a couple of growers up my side of the world, Pretoria and Johannesburg, that have actually got trees that they've dug with you in the club. Because does your club not engage in an annual dig as well?
Yes. Again, in the past we had these mini conventions because it was easier for us to do it, being in the central part of the country, and always willing to do it, by the way. But it was easier for so many clubs. Mini conventions. We had this phase. There's a lot of been phases. In 40 years, there's a lot of phases in bonsai. At some places, it was financially difficult to bring in international speakers, so we had the mini convention annually. And most of the times, it would be a Sabah general meeting.
Yes.
So we had people all over the country. We would organize a dig as well.
Yes, a dig.
So yeah, we've been to the Brandfort area, close to Bloemfontein, to the Demain mountain. Yeah, so I think there's quite a few people that will be able to tell stories about trees being dug in this area.
You can just correct me if I'm wrong, Vian, but I think it is in 2022 you received the Lifetime Achievement Award from Saba.
Yeah, that was. It's always nice to win. You don't expect it. You you do bonsai because you love it. Yes, I did, and it's nice. It's nice. It's nice to read something that somebody just maybe noticed.
Yes.
Have you enjoyed it actually?
Well, thank you very much for everything that you've done for bonsai for us all, and it's a privilege for me to be here today. And I wondered if we could go have a look at a couple of trees now.
There should be a few that's not looking too bad at the moment.
Let's go have a look.
Thanks.
Thanks, Vian. A very significant name for Bloemfontein was Tiny Dot Hennigan.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
And presenting great autumn colors here today is this Chinese elm. And I wondered if you wanted to tell us a little bit about this tree's history.
Yes. Tiny Dot was one of our masters, and I believe one of South Africa's masters as far as bonsai concerned, and because he was a fantastic artist. So she dug this in actually their garden where she grew up in Pretoria. My son took over there, and then she dug it up in the garden, developed it for a few years, and as she went on into life and moved on to an old age home, she gave this to Charles Boertes, one of our club members. He looked after it for quite a few years, and then as he moved over to a smaller place, he gave it to me. So I'm not quite sure. He's got all the information history still with him. But this tree is probably been going on for about 20 to 30 years by now. And I'm the third owner. I'm very proud to be able to look after it.
So how long have you had it?
I've had it now for about 5 years now. 4 to
Okay.
5 years, yeah. And it's happy. It's happy. I'm glad if it's happy with me.
Yeah. Was Dot Hennigan perhaps one of the founding members of Bloemfontein Bonsai Kai as well?
Definitely. She was one of the founding members. She actually taught me at school as well in
Oh,
physics.
sure. Okay.
That's where I know her of from school days. But yes, she was one of the founding members and one of the fantastic bonsai teachers in bonsai in South Africa, for sure.
Awesome tree. Thanks,
Yeah.
Vian.
Thank you very much. Liam, you asked me to speak about a few of my favorite species, which is difficult to do because I love trees in general. But what I have here today and I want to discuss is the Celtis of mine. And this is a Celtis sinensis. Although there's so much of them crossbreeding that I'm not quite sure how pure it is. But Celtis sinensis, this one I grew from seed. It's about 24 years old now. Developed it for about 20 years, and now 4 years ago I put it in a bonsai pot for the first time. Got a few things to sort out still, but Celtis, very comfortable with them. I love them. This one especially makes a lot, very, very small leaves, and I've miniaturized quite a lot as far as that's concerned. Then the other species that I think is probably my number one species would be the olives, the wild olives. This one here been exhibited quite a few times. Also very small leaves. If you can just have a look at that. I mean, look how small they get. So this is one of my favorite species. Got quite a few of them. It's another one here just at the bottom, one there. And but you have to be careful. You have the bigger leaf species, and it's very disappointing if you go as a Yamadori getting a very fantastic base and then you discover it's a big leaf species. Love them, very comfortable with them. They love this part of the country where they're studying now, the northern part, the northern side of the house, very hot against the brick wall. They love it and they just grow profusely from here. They it's one of those species that I would say the more you cut them, the more they react and just grow. Buddleia, the other one that I like a lot. This one actually, I've got a photo of the basic tree, inspiration from nature. We lightning struck this one and grew up. Buddleia is a bit of a bugger. If you don't understand them, and I learned a lot from Louis Nell. He was obviously the number one in the country as far as they're concerned. And this used to be a lightning struck with 3 branches, and 1 or 2 of them died off, and that's where we are at the moment. But they miniaturize so well. They make fantastic bonsai. You just need to understand how they grow and where to clip and what not to cut as far as the roots are concerned, and they make fantastic bonsai. So yes, Celtis, olives and Buddleias. I love elms, I love maples, and I've got a few of those in my collection as well. But this is probably the species I'm most comfortable with.
Vian, we're hearing a little bit of your bonsai collection, and you dem regularly. And we know you for your dems, and I wondered if you could tell us what are the sort of topics you like to deal with in dems. What do you like to deal with? What sort of message do you normally like to get across in your dems? And I think that we're going to have a look at trees that you've previously demmed on.
Yeah, Liam, you know, it's initially you have ideas when you work on trees and so on, but as time goes on, you get to the point where you realize, but I made so many mistakes.
Yeah, sure.
I made so many mistakes. So when I do a dem, the big main message I want to get over is development. But everybody knows what a good bonsai is about, and if you don't develop, you're not going to get to a good bonsai. So that's the one thing I want to do nowadays when I do a dem, is to let people understand, develop it. So this is the one that I did at ABC last year in Stellenbosch. I've got it back once since then, but now it's got to be, you have to leave it and just let the branches develop. This is the one that I mentioned that I was flat based, so let it develop and just grow. And then So it's development, and then if you bonsai long enough, you will get trees that will get damaged, and that's redevelopment. And if we can move maybe slightly this way, you'll see this is maybe one of the examples, and I've got quite a few in here where branches will die off, and then you'll have to redesign. So development and redesigning is basically the same. It's the same topic, but different phases of the tree. So that's what I would like to do. Yes, it's very fancy to have this wonderful demo where you take a tree from a big bush and design it into a bonsai. But it's only a few species that you can do that with.
Yes.
And in the end, it's all about time and patience and phases and development, and it takes time. It takes time. Bonsai is a hobby that takes time.
Because the trees that you've always been demming on are wild olives.
Mostly.
Yep.
Mostly.
Would you like to tell us about this tree? What was this at ABC's 5?
Yes, this one I probably around 12 years ago, like this for the first time, let it develop a while, did a demo at ABC 5, that would be now, what's that, 5-6 years ago, and let it develop, took it to ABC 6 just to exhibit it, to show what's been happening since then, and this is where we are now with this tree. I'm starting to become happy with the tree. There's quite a few things that I've noticed now, and that's the nice thing about bonsai. It takes time. It takes time, and as you grow and develop and you see the tree, it takes more. So yes, it's one of the trees that I've demmed on twice. I've done it a few times actually at ABC now, but this tree is the one that I think developed the best of all of them. You know, if you bonsai long enough, you will lose trees, or you will lose part of trees. And redesigning is as exciting as designing.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, Liam, yes, this is the nursery part where I develop most of the trees. Some of them, smaller ones, are maybe close to the final refinement phase. But this is just shelves under the shade cloth to develop them. In the back part there, I've got bigger plastic pots that they grow in, even there under the trees, plastic pots. And a growing bed there, which I've put a peach tree in at the moment, where I've developed trees for many years. So this is where I develop them, grow them, and then once they get into a bonsai pot, then they can move over to the exhibition pot. Remember, I spoke earlier on about the first tree that I dug up about 40 years ago, and this is that little one. That specimen, pull it out of the garden. Now, two issues here. Firstly, this tree is over 40 years old. It got weak, so that's why it's back into this. So I had to redevelop it. So that's the thing that I say. It grows very slow. I've got trees that are about 10 years old, which is about 10 times the size of this, as far as development is concerned. But when they're in a small pot, they grow slowly. This one, redesign again because it got weak. So next year it'll go back in a bonsai pot, get rid of the weeds, get rid of the old soil, and I'll have this fantastic little first tree back in a pot next year. Right, Liam, this is more my exhibition area, which is on the northern part of the house. The reason for that being it's the best, as far as climate concerned, I think the best part in Bloem to have your tree, especially the olives that I like. I like the heat with this brick face that I have on the house as well. So that's a nice part of the house. Behind you they'll have a huge tree that helps a lot with trees that are transplanted, that I would maybe transplant and put under the tree just for some time to acclimatize again, to go back to the sun. It helps a lot with winter frost. But from there, this is the way I exhibit my trees. What I like to do is, you can see the hose pipe lying here on the ground. I like hand watering. I believe that it is important to look at each tree every day. In that way, you'll see any pests that are growing or developing on the tree, or a branch dying back or anything. So you see the tree every day. If you have an automatic system, I believe you can't see what's going on. So being here, this part of the house, Most of the reason why it's the northern part, except for the sun, the winter, we have more sun on this side. The summer it's nice and hot, but most of our storms and even the hail comes from the south or the southwest. So there's a bit of a protection with the roof and the wall here. And although they are open to hail, I do get a bit of protection from that. Then fertilizing, as they are here, I take a big bowl every maybe 2 weeks in the growing season, whatever I'm using at that point in time, and I change between organic and inorganic fertilizers. Just water them with a jug, water them first, then with a jug, so that I know exactly how much I'm pouring out on each tree. And as you know, trees develop, I move them around, and that's another thing why I hand water, because an automatic system just, you know, the same amount of water all over the part of the exhibition area. So I would, especially if you go to the maples, especially the palmatums, we struggle with them in this climate we have. You know, in summer we can get up to 42 degrees, in winter we go to -10, and that's why you will see, you know, watering systems like these and this one here. They're in a separate system, and they're only there for summer times to cool down. So they would go off every hour for about 2 minutes in summer, just to cool down this area and cool down the trees. Even the olives can burn it when we get to 40 degrees. And then this part again, protection against the western wind, which is terrible. That's probably the biggest enemy we have in bonsai in Bloemfontein, is the west wind, that very hot wind in August, September, October. And that's where the maples, you see the maples standing there, that's where they grow. And this is the part where trees come here when they, as soon as you get qualified up to a bonsai pot, you can come here, getting a little bit full, starting to consider breaking down part of the house for the bigger exhibition area.
Vian, offline, you said to me that there's just about 5 trees in your collection that you would never get rid of. And this is one of them over here today. You want to tell me why this one's so special?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's something you have to think of as we get older. Somewhere down the line, you'll have to just slow down and get rid of some trees. This one is a very special tree. Got it as a little cutting many years ago. Developed it, made a lot of mistakes on it, almost killed it once or twice, not knowing how to handle a juniper. But the Procumbens nana is actually a fantastic species if you just learn how to work with it. I think it got quite nice. Had to cut it back quite a lot, got a lot of juvenile leaves back to it. But you know, this one, if you look at all those eastern trees from Japan and stuff, you see these, and this is the closest I could get to do that. Yeah, so that's definitely one that's special in my heart as far as bonsai is concerned.
Well, I can see why it's a beautiful tree, Vian. Vian, in conclusion, I just wanted to thank you very much for having me here. Your hospitality's been great, and it was actually a privilege and a pleasure for me to come and see your personal collection. I look forward to keeping up to date with your future activities and keeping up to date with your club's endeavors. And I'm going to be sure to make your birthday next year, the 40th anniversary of the club.
I'm so glad to hear that. I hope everyone will come. Everybody's definitely invited. We're looking forward to that.
Thanks a lot, Vian.
Thanks, Liam, for being here.
Thanks.